Hey everyone, this is the Fart Reviewer here, and I am back with.
Richie,
You're back after a short, 4-year hiatus. Nothing to gawk at.
what were you doing for all that time, Far Reviewer? I mean, I was a roadie for DaBaby. It was pretty wild. I was just hearing, I'm going baby on baby all day, every day, you know? It was pretty fun.
Well, I decided to pursue a psychology degree at Fart University to better understand what's going on in the minds of these people who upload these videos of themselves farting in a variety of situations. Just very curious as to what their psychological processes are.
That sounds like a very exemplary description. I have to commend you for your attention to detail and your hard work in, overcoming a lot of obstacles to graduate college to just to better understand the minds of these people that grace us with their fart videos.
So, today we're going to be looking at the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Kish, and his Bubble Shit Fart Club. Now, before I start the videos here and start showing them to the audience, what exactly do you think this will entail? Like, I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
Well, going off the a small preponderance of information in the title. I'm thinking that we may see the protagonist of the video engage in some very bubbly shits as well as some bubbly farts. That's just my personal guess, though. That's my personal opinion. What about you? What are your thoughts as to the content of the video ahead?
I can honestly foresee just a steaming pile of shit just kind of coalescing into this toilet bowl, just protruding the water, dirtying it up, but we'll have to see once we start this video here. So let's take a gander here.
Bullshit Fart Club. 10, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. That was a bullshit Fart Club. YouTube, Carl Kish, subscribe. Bye.
So, what are your initial thoughts on that 41-second clip?
It's hard to analyze off of just one viewing, but my preliminary assumptions are that one, that Carl Kish here, the protagonist of this fine video, Carl Kish is undergoing some very serious life turmoil, some very serious big changes in his life. I think his overuse, in fact, his multiple repeated sayings of the phrase "bubble shit fart club" indicate a deeper dissatisfaction with the instability of his job at Caravan Trailers. But that's just what I picked up in the first 40-second viewing.
Yeah, even if we're just paused here at 14 seconds, you can see he's kind of like there's this Pocahontas towel. He's kind of forcing that. Imagine if that was a person just staring at this man taking a shit in his toilet. Not the most uh, gracious sight to see. But he also has this pile of garbage just kind of piled up here in his bathroom, and the lights are off. It makes it seem kind of like a dark environment to be in.
Well, I think the darkness of the environment points to some deeper psychological issues. I think it clearly conveys that Mr. Kish suffers from a lot of unresolved trust issues that severely impact his ability to navigate the world and just present himself in, a little bit more socially acceptable way on the YouTube platform.
Not only that, it seems to affect his ability to even do something as rudimentary as counting, like 10, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, what happened to the numbers 5 through 9 in that sequence?
Playing devil's advocate here, I believe the ferocity of his defecation just surprised him, and he was originally going to do a nice slow countdown, 10, 9, 8. The shit just dropped out of his bowels like a rock, and he just had to skip right to 4 because he knew it was just coming on way too soon.
Yeah, we got a nice little preliminary look there, so we'll go on to welcoming the member Caden Parsons to the Bubble Shit Far Club itself. It seems like instead of just generic video, he's actually inducting a member into the club. So we'll take a look here.
Let's take a look see.
Hey, persons, this one's for you. Yeah. Welcome to the Bubble Shit Fart Club. Just ate a grapefruit. Shh, listen. Oh, That's it. Oh, that's it, too. Oh, shit. Literally. It wasn't a blaster. I thought it was going to be a blaster, master blaster. Oh, a little fart.
So one thing to note here is he was referencing that he just ate a grapefruit. And something I learned throughout my extended learning throughout this degree that I have obtained is that people tend to associate food with what they've ate, with the actions that they're doing. So do you think in the future he will tend to, or from the time of this video, do you think he tended to associate grapefruit with defecation?
Well, I mean, you have to consider that defecation is a perfectly natural human function, and I believe, grapefruit is a common enough food to ingest in one's digestive system. I believe that Mr. Kish here was just simply a random act of happenstance, just coincidence that he happened to eat a grapefruit before this ferocious shit.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I can't see it being random. I also noticed that up here he has this little tree kind of thing like hanging as a scent remover above his bathroom door.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that also. I've seen a lot of those very similar types of trees in the cars of people that are degenerates enough to smoke marijuana. I'm wondering if that's a potential indication of Kish's past. He had a past pertaining to marijuana, perhaps using marijuana, selling marijuana, whatever, whatever.
I remember learning in my degree actually about this man, Mr. Kish himself. He was actually a case study, referencing how men who smoke marijuana back in the 60s and 70s and 80s and whenever you have that kind of time period, they tend to do want to fuck the fucking shit out of their friends' whore girlfriends. And I was thinking that maybe just from that moment on, like when he was sleepless in Fox Lake, he kind of just degraded in his lifestyle.
I feel like that's a very astute observation, first of all, and I think that is a very distinct possibility. I think that theorization of kind of the root of Kish's downfall, I think it's very accurate because we saw in the 3 years that we watched Mr. Kish before this video was published, we saw his hair get much longer, much more stringy and kind of out of control. We saw his beard grow to epic proportions, and I think he just kind of let his personal hygiene slip, and he just kind of focused on making people happy and getting YouTube subscribers. And that's completely evident through watching the video of him, defecating into the toilet.
Indeed. Let's let the Master Blaster continue for a little bit here and reassess our thoughts.
Oh. Oh. I gotta hang on to the old shit handle. Oh, I got one on each side. Oh God, here it comes. Oh, I don't feel so good. I think that grapefruit was fucking rotten. Yeah, because it just all fell apart. Yeah. So I think it was rotten. I should threw that fucker away. Maybe I should throw them all away. Does grapefruit have a fucking expression date? Maybe they were frozen. All those cocksuckers. I bet you they froze them. They weren't fresh. They froze the cocksuckers. That's why it fell apart.
So we just watched about another minute of it here, and in that minute he grabbed onto the handles like he was expecting perhaps like turbulence on an airplane, except the comparison is that he's expecting maybe his toilet to just ferociously just, I don't know, respond to his shits. What do you think of that action?
If you look at the deeper psychological impact of his actions, I think his grabbing of the handle, his just knee jerk reaction to just grab onto that handle and support himself through his tough shit. I think that kind of represents his yearning to just have some inkling of stability in his life, like we discussed earlier in the video. I think Mr. Kish has some very profoundly difficult, unresolved issues. I think he's dealing with the potential loss of his job, all the chances he passed up as a younger man to fuck the fucking shit out of his friend's whore girlfriend, just all that stuff combines. And he was also focused on the expression date of the grapefruit. I think he was worrying about his own demise because I mean, think about it. Like humans, we naturally think of our own expression date when we're gonna leave this earth.
Yeah, not only that, but one of the few things he probably had in his life that was a constant that he can always rely on is something as simple as food. Now, as we saw in the beginning of the first video, he's obviously a very gluttonous man. And, I mean, if you're living alone and one of the few things that you have left to enjoy is just cooking up nice meals, having something like food betray you, just going past this expression date and kind of getting rid of that stability in your stomach when you normally feel good is just a unsightly matter to deal with for this man.
Well, it is indeed. It is very unsightly. I don't think we should take a kind of pitying stance because by grabbing the handle, he reclaims his masculinity. He asserts his dominance and he shows the world that he is going to stand up to whatever obstacles come in his way.
This man does seem to assert his dominance in a variety of factors here. I mean, he's leading a club. It's an alpha male kind of characteristic. It's not something that a beta or some sort of incel would do. Voluntary incels or whatever you call them nowadays. I'm not sure what the terminology is, but
Voluntary install, I believe, yes. And I can perfectly see that. Kish is no simp.
The monsters at home. I think the devil's coming out of my ass. Y'all ever watch the fucking movie uh, 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 Exorcist? Yeah.
so to recap that last bit there, what the hell was going on?
I think it's quite evident what was going on. There's about a 5-second interlude where he proclaims, "I think the devil's coming out of my ass." I think what that signifies is that by sitting on the toilet and defecating, he's undergoing a sort of baptism of sorts, where he is spiritually retransforming himself, and kind of just crossing that fence to become a better human being and purify himself. Really.
Yeah, and on top of that, we've talked about this in past episodes. But there's actually a coalition going around in the religious groups, Farty Unites Christian Knights. Maybe, perhaps, he's doing some sort of exorcism to try to get himself into that religious group and free himself of his past sins that he so vehemently abhors.
Well, as a self-proclaimed expert on Quora, studying the Farty Unites Christian Knights group, I can say with a full extent of confidence that Mr. Kish is simply trying to make up for his past and try to run away from his past and make himself a better human being. And a lot of people that are attracted to the club of Farting Unites Christian Knights are seeking that similar kind of spiritual rebirth. So I think that's definitely a very verisimilitudinous opinion, without a doubt.
And on top of that, I also noticed in the background, it's a very subtle thing to notice in the video, but it seemed like he had the audio of the TV kind of drowning out his own like internal monologue of perhaps depressive thoughts. And it also seems like he's trying to save other people who may live beneath him or to the side of him from hearing his shits just, echo throughout the place.
I think it's definitely no coincidence that this video was intended as an invitation of Caden Parsons to the Bubble Shit Fart Club because what he's really trying to do here is invite Caden Parsons to a life in which he can undergo spiritual rebirth, in which he can become an innocent, purified form of a human being.
Let Jesus fuck you. Let Jesus fuck you. Lick my pussy. Like it. Like it. The power of Christ will compel you. The power of Christ will compel you. Whoosh. 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 Yeah. You ever see that movie? The Exorcist? The original one? Yeah, a little 12-year-old girl gets possessed by the fucking devil. What was her name? What was her name? I know it wasn't Sally Fields. No, couldn't have been. Who was that? Who was that? Exorcist. You know what? I'm gonna Google it. Let's see who gets it first, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Do you think it's perhaps a coincidence that during his own exorcism he forgot the name of the character in the Exorcist movie itself that is possessed?
I think so. I think his, the kind of hazy recall of certain details like that, it points to a past filled with just kind of like hopelessness, with drug abuse, with I don't know, just all the negative trappings of a typical life in rural America. And I think Kish's his inability to properly recall the name of the person being exorcised in the film, I think it all the more demonstrates the kind of damage that has been done to him in his past life and kind of some context for the reasons behind his planned rebirth.
And you not only bring up that, you also bring up a point I want to make, that I think Kish would abhor exercise in two general ways, not only in the spiritual way, but in the physical way, since he's obviously a man who weighs approximately 233.3 pounds, as denoted in approximately mid 2017 when he lost weight himself on video. But
Actually, I believe it was 233.6 pounds. He was carrying an extra point 0.3 pounds of baggage around.
that is true. I do believe my memory is slightly inaccurate by a plus or minus 0.3, so that would make sense. But I'm just wondering if perhaps he would benefit from some sort of physical exercise, besides the exorcism he went under.
Well, I mean, like you were saying before, Mr. Kish is an alpha male, and alpha males generally do not need to exercise because they're just superior genetically guys. Like everybody else has shitty ass genetics. The haters just talk about shitty shit. Mr. Kish here, he's just above all that. It's kind of on a different plane of existence.
So with that, I think we will conclude our analysis of not only the Here's to the Bubble Shit Fart Club 10-4-3-2-1 Boom video, but also the introduction of the first member into the Bubble Shit Fart Club for Mr. Kish. I think it's important that we go forward from here to potentially analyze more of Mr. Kish's videos, perhaps longer ones, just to see kind of what the intention of this Bubble Shit Fart Club is, and hopefully it's not an anti-movement to the Farting Unites Christian Knights movement that is, making social progress and strides in egalitarianism, and perhaps a man of this magnitude and his alpha male tendencies won't override such movements such as feminism and social justice that have really become rife in modern day first world countries.
Oh, that's a very worrying point, but I do believe that Mr. Kish's sense of, alpha maleness, alpha masculinity, whatever you'd like to call it, I think that sense kind of precludes him from damaging other aspects of society because his videos, they reach a very targeted audience of just a conglomeration of just mature adult YouTube viewers. And I also think that Mr. Kish he's one of the most interesting case studies studies I've ever came upon in my career as a fart reviewer, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah. So, as always, hope you guys had a good time watching this. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.